Penguin Random House Audio presents The Book Collectors, a band of Syrian rebels and the stories that carried them through a war. By Delphine Minoui. Translated from the French by Daraya. Read for you by Nikki Massoud. There is no jail that can imprison the free word, nor is there a siege tight enough to prevent the spread of information. Mazen Darwish, Syrian human rights activist, in a speech given on April 23, 2016, following his release from jail in 2015. Prologue. Istanbul, October 15, 2015. It's a remarkable image. A mysterious photo that somehow escaped the hell that is Syria without a trace of blood or bullets. Two men in profile surrounded by walls of books. The first one leans over a text, open to the middle. The second scans a shelf. They're young, in their 20s. One sporting a hooded sweatshirt, the other with a baseball hat secured firmly on his head. Artificial light frames their faces in an enclosed, windowless room, emphasizing the unexpectedness of the scene. A fragile parenthesis in the midst of war. The photo fascinates me. I came across it by chance on Facebook, on the page kept by Humans of Syria, a collective of photographers. I read the caption, "The Secret Library of Daraya." I repeat it out loud. Secret Library of Daraya. The three syllables crash into one another. Daraya, the rebel. Daraya, the besieged. Daraya, the starved. I've read and written a great deal about this suburb of Damascus, one of the cradles of 2011's peaceful uprising. Since 2012, it has been surrounded and blasted by Bashar al-Assad's forces. The idea that these young readers are hidden in an underground basement as bombs explode above their heads arouses my curiosity. What's the story behind this picture? What's the hidden angle? The image haunts me, drawing me like a magnet to an inaccessible place. Syria has become too dangerous a destination. It takes me several calls on Skype and WhatsApp to track down the photographer, Ahmad Mutmani. Ahmad is one of the co-founders of this secret haven. Through a spotty internet connection, their sole portal to the outside world, he tells me of his devastated city. Houses in ruin, fire and dust, and, amid the tumult, thousands of books saved from the rubble and reassembled in a refuge accessible to all of Daraya's residents. He spends hours explaining this project to save their cultural heritage, born from the ashes of a town that won't yield. He tells me about the incessant bombing, the empty stomachs, the soups made of leaves to stave off starvation, the voracious reading to nourish the mind. The library is their hidden fortress against the bombs. Books are their weapons of mass instruction. His story is riveting. It rings out like an ode to peace that Syria's leader is hell-bent on muffling. An underground chorus that the jihadists of Daesh want to eradicate. A new voice that sprang from loudspeakers at the early demonstrations of the anti-regime uprising and was nearly muted by the ongoing conflict. This unheard account of their revolution whispers, "Write me down." It is a perilous undertaking. How can you describe something you can't see, that you haven't lived? How do you avoid falling into the trap of misinformation, knowing Assad is not the only one spreading it? Aside from the books they are reading, what kinds of ideas do these young men entertain? Are they really jihadists, as the regime would have us believe? Or mere rebels who refuse to surrender? In Istanbul, I calculate the distance separating me from Daraya, 932 miles. I study the myriad ways to get there. But there's no point. Since my last trip to Damascus in 2010, when I was living in Beirut, I've been unable to get another press visa to access the Syrian capital. Even if I could get to Damascus, how would I reach the trapped suburb? This fall, even the United Nations was prevented from penetrating the barricades, failing in its attempts to send any humanitarian aid. Is there a tunnel, a back road, a secret path? On the other end of the line, Ahmad confirms that every usual route is blocked. All that's left is the breach through Muadamiya, a neighboring town, used only by the most daring. Such a crossing happens at night, at the mercy of snipers. But should the story of Daraya be buried simply because we can't see past the wall erected by Assad? Should we settle for being passive witnesses to the incomparable barbarism unfolding live on our television sets? If we look at this city only as it appears on a computer screen, we risk getting the story wrong. But looking away would condemn it to silence. Bashar al-Assad wanted to put Daraya in parentheses, to make it a footnote. I intend to make it the headline. To find other images, to fit them together with that first snapshot, the way you assemble the pieces of a puzzle. A few days later, I call Ahmad to tell him my plan, anxious to hear his response. At first, there's a long silence at the other end of the Skype connection. I repeat my request. I'd like to write a book about the library in Daraya. A metallic clamor chokes the line. Another night full of this constant terror and danger. How ridiculous this project must seem to him. When the rain of bombs ends, his voice breaks through. Ahlan wa sahlan. Be my guest. Hearing his enthusiasm, I smile at my screen. Ahmad will be my guide. I will be his willing scribe. I make him a promise. One day, this book, their book, will join the other volumes in the library. It will be the living diary of Daraya. At first, Ahmad is a distant voice coming through my computer speakers, a fragile whisper from a hidden basement. When I first make contact with him on Skype, on October 15, 2015, he hasn't left Daraya in nearly 3 years. Located fewer than 5 miles from Damascus, his town is a sarcophagus, surrounded and starved by the regime. He is one of 12,000 survivors. In the beginning, I struggle to understand what he is saying. He mumbles, timid but keyed up, his words broken by the omnipresent crackling of explosions. Between detonations, I try to focus on his face. He appears on my computer screen, then disappears, at the mercy of an internet connection patched together from small satellite dishes smuggled from abroad in the early days of the revolution. His image stretches and deforms like a Picasso portrait, round cheeks slant at an angle under black-rimmed glasses before breaking into a million cubic pieces and fading behind a thick black curtain. When the pixels come back together, I listen carefully and try to read his lips, chewing on my pencil. He introduces himself. Ahmad, 23 years old, born in Daraya, one of 8 children in his family. Before the revolution, he studied civil engineering at Damascus University. Before the revolution, he liked soccer, movies, and being around plants in his family's nursery. Before the revolution, he dreamed of becoming a journalist. His father quickly dissuaded him from the idea, having himself spent 12 months in prison for a simple remark whispered to a friend. Insult to power, the court had ruled. That was 2003, when Ahmad was 11, a somber memory that had burrowed deep inside him. Then the revolution. When Syria rouses in March 2011, Ahmad is 19, a rebellious age. His father, still traumatized from jail, forbids him to go into the streets. Ahmad misses the first protest held in Daraya, but sneaks into the second one. He joins the crowd, chanting at the top of his lungs, "One, one, one, the Syrian people are one." In his chest, inside this budding revolutionary, something rips like a sheet of paper. His first sensation of freedom. Weeks, then months go.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?